Emmanuel Rodriguez versus Melvin Lopez. 12 rounds for the vacant IBF bantamweight title. This one is happening this Saturday, August 12th. Let's get into it. Let's start with Emmanuel Rodriguez. 21 wins, 2 losses, 13 wins by way of knockout. This is a great opportunity for Rodriguez to win back his belt. In 2018, he put forth a beautiful performance against Paul Butler, and he won that fight by unanimous decision to win that title for the first time. But he looked great in that fight. I mean, 2 knockdowns in the first round. You can't ask for a better start than that. His placement and his punches were sharp like a knife that night. His punches looked strong. It looked snappy. Jab was nice. And the combinations were nice too. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Paul Butler in that fight came in, I think he missed weight. So the weight did not slow down Emmanuel Rodriguez's game plan. It definitely was not a problem for him that night because the man put on a outstanding, skillful performance. He was doing whatever he wanted that night. He was just a step ahead of Paul Butler in every category that night, man. He kept the distance well and controlled the pace of the fight from start to finish. Now, after that fight, he defends his title against Andrew Maloney, who recently just won the WBO bantamweight title in May, right? So that was a good back and forth fight. I mean, both guys had success against each other, right? There were some close rounds. There was a lot of times in that fight when one guy would hit the other and immediately the other guy who got hit would come back with a counter punch to even the score. There were a lot of moments in that fight where Maloney or Rodriguez, when they would land a shot, the other guy would miss a counter shot just by an inch. Again, it was a great back and forth fight, but I thought Rodriguez's body work was better than Maloney in that fight. I thought his defense was also slightly better in that fight, but again, it could have went either way depending on what you were looking for, man. But I believe the right person won that fight. Then after that, he goes to face Naoya Inoue in a fight where he lost his belt to just the all-around better guy. I mean, Inoue's power, skill, speed, it was just too much for him, man. There's a lot of guys who cannot handle the full package of Inoue right now, so there's no shame in losing to the better guy on the night. And after he loses to Inoue, he faces Raymart Gaballo in a fight where on paper he lost. But that's a fight, man, where you just got to go back and watch the tape and then just watch it from a different viewpoint. Because to me, I felt like it was a different outcome. I felt like Rodriguez won the fight, but it is what it is. On paper, he lost the fight. So we got to move through with that. So coming off back-to-back losses, yo, that can play a lot on a boxer's mental psyche. A third loss changes things a little. After that, he fights Gary Antonio Russell. In the first fight, it was a no contest head clash. It was over with. Then he faced him again in his most recent fight, and that was a totally different story, man. I mean, Rodriguez looked great. Man looked outstanding. He looked sharp, right? His pullback counter was on point that night. His punches, they were strong. He was locked in. He was very confident, calm, poised, and just seemed like he was ready for this moment, man. He just seemed like he was ready to seize the moment, and that's exactly what he does. I mean, this is a guy that when he finds your timing, he's going to pick you apart. He's going to make it very tough for you. Russell had no answer for Rodriguez that night. He got dropped 3 times, I believe it was, before the head clash came in, and that ended the fight in the 10th. I mean, the scorecards were on point that night. You know, sometimes scorecards in boxing, you don't know where it's going to go. But that night, I thought they all got it right. It was a one-sided fight, man. Rodriguez controlled that fight from start to finish. It was just an outstanding performance, and he's going to be looking to do more of the same in this fight to become a champion again. But let's talk about his opponent, Melvin Lopez. 29 wins, 1 loss, 19 wins by way of knockout. His only loss coming from back in 2019 when he fought Jose Velasquez. He got stopped in that fight. But this is a guy who throws his shots with bad intentions, man, especially that left hand. Every time he throws a shot, a power shot, he's throwing it with the intention of if it connects, it's gonna knock you out, and that always comes with pros and cons. If it works, great, you close out the show. But if it doesn't connect, he misses wide, and this is a guy when he misses wide. right? But when he connects, you definitely feel it. I mean, the 19 knockouts, that's no joke. This guy can punch. He has a good jab as well, too, but he doesn't really throw it a whole lot, right? And that's not going to be effective against Rodriguez. You got to establish that jab, because if he does that, I mean, it's going to make it a lot harder for you to find your way in. He's going to have to do things a little bit differently this time and see what his game plan is. But he's a patient fighter, right? I think he slowed things down a bit since his loss, and he's now letting the fight come more to him. He's got pretty good fundamentals as well. In his last fight, he fought Jobert Alvarez, who has a record of 20 wins, 3 losses, and 2 draws. And he took his time in that fight. He seemed very confident, his mannerisms, right? And he picked his spots very well. He didn't overcommit, did a good job cutting off the ring and meeting Alvarez where he was going to be. He scored a knockdown in the 4th round. But even though he did score the knockdown, man, I felt like it was a tale of 2 stories. In the beginning half, Lopez came on strong. But in the second half of the fight, Alvarez came back and found his way back into the fight. I mean, the final scorecards were 94, 95. I think 2 judges had that, and I think 1 judge had it 97, 93, I believe it was. I briefly remember the fight, so I'm just going off the scorecards from what I remember. But I tried to go back and watch the fight all over again, but I couldn't find tape on it. But from memory, I thought he looked okay, man. I thought he looked a little bit winded towards the end of the fight, and I thought he took some rounds off. And you cannot take rounds off against Rodriguez, because he is going to make you pay. He's going to need to put on a much better performance against Rodriguez if he wants to come out as a champion. So who wins? I like Emmanuel Rodriguez to win this fight. He's fought some of the best in the division already, right? He's got a good shin, right? He's smart in the ring, looked great as ever as I've seen him in his last fight. He's got experience fighting on a championship level, right? That championship pressure, that championship mentality. He's been a champion already, so he knows how to operate at that pressuring moment. Lopez has a great opportunity, though, to win a title and solidify himself as one of the best in the division, right? But I don't think he's got enough experience at this time to get the job done, man. I don't think Lopez is as good from a skill set standpoint as a Paul Butler, Andrew Maloney, definitely not an Inoue or a Gaballo, in my opinion, or Russell, right? But who knows, right? Maybe this weekend Lopez rises to the occasion and gets it done and puts on a spectacular performance and finds a way to win. Definitely is not impossible. And in boxing, you know, anything could happen. But I like Rodriguez to win this fight by late stoppage if he presses on it, man. I think Lopez's chin is a little bit suspect. It showed that if it gets touched up enough that he can be stopped. So I like Emmanuel Rodriguez to win this fight. I'm going to say by late stoppage. What are your thoughts on this fight? Who do you have winning this one? Let me know in the comment section below. If you would like to support the channel, there's a couple ways you can do so. You can like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you would like to support by way of donation, you can find options in the description below. Also, my Cash App handle will be on screen as well. Any amount goes towards the growth of this channel and will be greatly appreciated. We recently just started a membership section on the channel. I think it's going strong 2 months now. I don't always get to do all the suggested videos you guys suggest in the comment section below, but if you become a member, those suggested videos rise to the top, and I will do my best to get those done for you that week. Or if you would like to become a member just to support the channel, that would be greatly appreciated as well. So with all that being said, if you've been watching the video this long, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel, and we'll definitely see you next time.